Hello, everybody. Yo, Joburg. My name is Steve. This is episode 274 of GI Joburg, and it's entitled Playtime with the Universal Toy Collector. Who is the Universal Toy Collector? We're going to get into that in a moment. But as usual, I've got my gang, my band of thieves. Leading the charge is Paul, Deadly Pencils Lopesher, and what has he got? He's got none other than the master of the mystic martial arts. It's Storm Shadow. Oh dear.
Autofocus, Storm Shadow.
I can't...
Hey everybody.
He tried. And bringing up the third member of the trio of GI Joburg, it's Robbie.
Hey guys, it's me. It's Rob. I shaved.
It's Rob. And presenting our guest for this evening, Stu from Universal Toy Collector. His channel is in the description below. He had us on last week on his toy collecting talk show, basically, which has gone into 17 episodes by now with esteemed guests that you're all probably familiar with, like Dave C. straight from the pit, Gojitron, Bosk's Bounty, Chris Miwa from Chasing 80s Toys, and our very own Bob Hansen from the Bob Squad, among many others. The guy's running a channel, and we were very, very grateful to be on it. So, hey, it just made sense to return the favor and have him on GI Joburg. Ladies and gentlemen, Stu, the Universal Toy Collector. Hello, Stu.
Hello, boys. All right?
Great,
Yeah,
man.
good,
We had a good
good,
chat
good.
last week. So it's time to turn the focus on you, brother.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, no, I appreciate you inviting me on. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
We actually just wanted to see
Well,
a cool toy display.
Oh, did you?
that too.
I can just like come off screen and just focus on my toy display. If you'd rather watch that and look at that, then
Nah,
I mean,
nah.
I'm easy.
Well, I have seen your collection video, so for anyone wanting to know how deep this guy rolls, check it out. Check out the channel. But you asked us some pretty probing questions last week, so I would also urge anyone who's got a passing interest in the three criminals of GI Joburg to check out the interview. The link will also be in the description below. But how does this Sunday find you, man? Has it been a roller coaster weekend?
Yeah,
Has
it's
anyone
right.
let
Yeah,
off
it's
any
just-
fireworks? Is Guy Fawkes still a thing?
Yes, it is. It is. This is the only country that celebrates some guy trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Do you know what I mean? I can't get my head around it. We've been celebrating it for years. Yeah, they're trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Let's let a few fireworks off every year, November the 5th. So, yeah, fantastic. Good stuff.
Yeah, someone lit up our House of Parliament, I think, 2 years ago. They burned part of it down. We don't get a holiday for that. I'll tell you that much.
We don't get a holiday, we just get a day dedicated to trying to blow up Houses of Parliament. But in this day and age, I'm surprised they're still letting it go ahead, to be honest with you. But there you are.
Yeah, particularly with animal rights. I mean, it's kind of died a swift death here. We used to celebrate Guy Fawkes, but I mean, the kind of distress that it puts particularly dogs and cats into.
Yeah.
Well, any pet for that matter, with any kind of sense of hearing. So I think there are only certain designated places where people can let off fireworks. Paul, what's it like in Joburg, man?
For Guy Fawkes, it's completely dead. But for
Alright.
Diwali, it goes mad for Diwali.
Well, yeah,
Which is the festival of
we're
lights,
happy
yeah.
to step on the toes of like the English living in South Africa, but like don't piss off the Indian population, please. You want to warn your hands?
English.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest with you, I
Back
don't
to
think
England
anybody
if you
cares
want
pissing the English off. But there you are.
Fireworks.
So, gentlemen, I mean, that kind of leads me into my first question of the evening. Fireworks and GI Joes, do those two go hand in hand? Stu, did you ever experiment with what happens when you stick firecrackers into that space between the GI Joe's upper and lower halves?
No, I didn't. No.
Really?
I,
Good boy.
I feel like I'm missing out.
No, man, it's terrible.
No?
I'm embarrassed to say that some Joes did die at the hands of I think they're called Tom Thumbs. I don't know if you guys have a different name for them, but they're like matchstick-sized. They look like TNT, like mini TNT. You get them in strips. You can either light the whole strip, the fuses are all like intertwined, or you can separate them out and have individual little sticks of dynamite. Amazing.
Did we had things called like bangers, and basically they were like
Oh,
probably the
those
same
nice
thing,
throw.
but they didn't let off a big spark or anything like that, or like pretty lights. It just went bang. That's all it was. That's why it's
Perfect
called a
for
banger.
blowing up O-rings. My goodness. So over on GI Joburg, we like to get a little bit of an identikit on our guests. The first questions are always some of my most delightful because it gives us a cross section of like exactly what era of Joe you were into and what style of play you liked. We can take a lot from how you answer these questions, so think very carefully. Stu, I want to know your favorite GI Joe action figure, your favorite Cobra action figure, and your favorite vehicles from the respective factions.
Okay, so I would say my favorite GI Joe figure would have had to have been Airborne, the original O-ring figure. Simply, I just like the colors. I thought the colors worked so well. I thought he come with some pretty cool accessories, and yeah, I liked him. I never had him personally as a kid, but when I was round a friend's house, and you know, I always quite liked him. He had a fairly decent looking weapon, his backpack, and I just thought he looked cool. He looked right.
Nice.
Cobra would have to be Zartan. He's just
You
awesome.
and me both, baby. Yeah.
He changed color, his little swamp skier. I quite liked him. Cobra vehicle was the water moccasin. I'd quite like that. I think that's a pretty decent vehicle. It was affordable back in the UK in the day, so that was a fairly decent vehicle. So I like the colors of that. I liked the aesthetics of it and just how it would go around the swamps. That's why I like Zartan as well, because he was like in the swamps, wasn't he? And then GI Joe.
Oh yeah, they go hand in glove, don't they? I mean, that vehicle and that character. There was definitely that issue cover. I think the issue was entitled Zartan, and he's riding on top of it, shooting at the shark. I think
some of those comics were amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the artwork and stuff like that. And the favorite vehicle for the GI Joe was the Sky Striker. So I had the Action Force Sky. Well, I didn't have a GI Joe Sky Striker as a kid. I now have a Action Force Sky Striker with Action Force stickers over it, as I'm from the UK, and Action Force was predominantly UK. Then GI Joe kicked in, and Action Force sort of like fell to the wayside. So yeah, so they're my favorite characters and figures and vehicles. Yeah.
Well, you're going to preempt one of my questions that was going to come later in the interview. But did you back the HasLab Sky Striker?
Yes, I did.
Oh, very good. Because it did come out just as the UK were party to Hasbro Pulse, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
making things easier.
Yeah,
cool.
I think I would
have
have excited
about
it. I didn't. I am. Yeah, for sure. Because then I'd have a Action Force Sky Striker and a GI Joe Sky Striker, even though it's not a vintage GI Joe Sky Striker.
Well, at least it is vintage compatible. Whereas, I mean, in the interim, they released that 30th anniversary one, which has a more accommodating cockpit for modern figures. But like an O-ring figure will kind of rattle around in there rather loosely.
Yeah. I think I would have regretted it if I didn't get that HasLab. I think I would have regretted it for sure.
And does that mark the first official means whereby you got a HasLab? Because I know that you have a Katana, a Jabba's sail barge, but you had to get that via the arduous road of eBay and import tax and
I got the Razor Crest as well.
Oh wow!
Oh, cool!
Okay.
That's probably one of the coolest things they've done. I mean, it's
that is awesome. That is awesome.
Well,
and the two figures that come with it.
Which is your favorite between the
Jesus,
the Katana and the Razor Crest? Can you define a favorite?
It's got to be the sail barge.
Really?
I mean, I don't even think there's a comparison. I love the original trilogy Star Wars. It was only in it for 5-10 minutes screen time, if that. But it looks fantastic. It's a fantastic display piece. Well, listen, I mean, look at the Razor Crest. That was all the way through the season. HasLab announced they're going to do the Razor Crest, and then they blow it up.
I know. It's sad. But at the same time, like, at least that was a hero vehicle. Whereas when I think of the sail barge, it's more of a setting for Luke to kick some ass before blowing it to hell. You know,
I mean,
which always was
an amazing set.
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Harvest.
I mean, you know. Yeah. I mean, it took a year for them to build it, and then they go and blow it up. And I think I would have cried. I think I would have cried.
But didn't they blow up a miniature? Surely that's a
No,
miniature.
it was the. They blew it up.
Wow. Jeepers.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Crazy.
now he has a completely different ship. I haven't watched Boba Fett, but apparently, yeah, he has a Naboo fighter now, or at least a modified Naboo
yeah,
fighter.
yeah.
Spoilers.
His new
Oh, are we
vehicle.
talking about the Razor Crest now? Yeah.
No, not the Yeah,
Look-
after the Razor Crest got destroyed in the Book of Boba Fett,
Sure.
there's a whole episode that just isn't about Boba Fett and just focuses on the
Mandalorian,
Mandalorian getting a
yeah.
new ship.
Robbie,
that's not really
you got to
Please
stop.
keep
You got to
watching
stop the
ours.
comments from killing us. They blew up the Razor Crest in that I think it was a Guillermo del Toro directed episode of The Mandalorian. It wasn't.
Yeah,
Book of
no,
Boba.
they did, but he got a new ship in Boba Fett, which is a
There we
Naboo
go.
fighter. That's what I'm saying.
Or
is
I
that
like to
he's
think
got
of
a
it
new
as
ship.
Mandalorian Light. Oh man, but this is not a Star Wars podcast.
No, sorry. Right.
No, but Stu, I mean, other than GI Joe, what is the other things that you really enjoy collecting? It sounds like it's definitely Star Wars, at least.
Well, listen, Star Wars has always been my bread and butter, always will be my bread and butter, but I do have a strong passion for GI Joe. I don't have any of the original O-ring figures, unfortunately. I do have some of the 25th anniversary and the latest retro line figures that have come out. I've also got the new O-ring figures that have come out, the 2-packs. So I've got those.
Okay.
I think you had Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, Cobra Trooper, a Cobra Officer, I know, and Duke and Cobra Commander. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So-
Also through Pulse. I mean, that's the way of the future. I just wish they would be a little bit quicker off the mark, opening it up to some other markets.
The rest of the
I mean,
world, yeah. Just
I mean,
supply
why
stuff
shouldn't
to
I? I mean,
everyone.
I mean, there are people all across the world that want to be interested in buying this sort of stuff. So you'd think it makes sense for them to open it up to the rest of the world, because then they've expanded their market, and then people around the world are going to want to buy, aren't they? So
well, I'd like to say they're making strides, but it doesn't seem like all areas are being serviced to the same degree. But anyways, I don't want to get sour grapes. Do you own any classified figures?
yes, I do.
Okay.
I should have asked you guys how you felt about those, because I was pretty excited.
I'm a conscientious objector. Paul is he's decided to swim, and Rob he likes anything. So,
I'm
pops,
so easy to please,
classifieds.
like really. but I wouldn't want to own all of them, but there are some very specific ones which I think are absolutely amazing.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
a cherry picker. So,
yeah,
when it's good,
He's
when it's cool
pretty
figures
cool.
like this guy, then I'm happy.
yeah.
How about you, Stu? Who've you
I
got?
started collecting them off. I've got pretty much the majority of them. I've not got one on display. I was disappointed with the original Roadblock they did, the original Scarlet and the original Duke. I didn't think they looked anything like their 80s resemblance as figures.
Sure.
Hasbro, to be fair, did listen to a lot of the comments and a lot of the fans, and slowly but surely they've started turning things around. And I think that has got a lot to do with Valaverse and him releasing the Action Force figures, because now figures are coming with more accessories. They're coming with blast effects from the pistols and the weapons, and their guns aren't looking like some stupid Nerf gun type thing. They're looking like proper military weapons, and the figures are now looking more like they used to look back in the 80s, but they were just a modernized version of them. So, fair play to them for doing that.
Yeah, they're finding their feet. Whereas I think Bobby Valla had a very clear vision from the outset. Wanted multiple hands, exchangeable mags, and storage for all the equipment on the figure. GI Joe is actually playing catch up, as far as I can tell.
No, they are.
But we're now seeing, as you say, blast effects, believable weapons. Though it is questionable why Sergeant Slaughter has an AK-47, whatever. But things are looking up for the GI Joe line, and certainly this new vintage bent that the figure designs are going in, it's going to please the maximum number of people. I know there's always going to be voices of people who want to push the line forward into new things, but they tried that and it fell flat. So what you going to do? We still don't have a vintage accurate Duke. Like, they have not gotten off the starting blocks with such a primary character. So TikTok. Come on, Hasbro.
Yeah, exactly.
They've done another version now, haven't they? They did him as a Tiger Force.
Tiger
version.
Force,
It's
but
closer.
he's still got the
getting there.
weird shin pads and the, he
Oh,
looks
really?
like a
Okay, I
youngster.
didn't see that. Goodness.
So basically, they're just repaints, aren't they?
Oh, no.
Those
Yeah,
figures
absolutely.
like Tiger Force
Useless.
and Python Patrol, they're just repaints. So,
Do you have a favorite classified figure, like clear favorite?
oh god.
Here at GI Joburg, we ask the probing questions.
You do.
Interrogate
quite
yourself.
like Christians.
I like the Snake Eyes, the Commando Snake Eyes. I think he looks pretty decent. They've got him down to a T. I
Nice.
think he was the one that
Comes with an
he came with
incredible
Timber.
wolf.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
he's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
that's probably the best version of him so far.
Yeah,
So
they totally nailed
he
it.
is immense. Yeah, but then saying that, Stalker is a close second.
Immense! Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah, Stalker's a close second. He looks pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Good.
I still
So I do
haven't
like
seen him in the
Stalker.
flesh yet, so to speak.
Oh, yet.
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah,
still waiting
he's
at Big
very
Bad Toy
decent.
Store for you?
Yeah, he's
Nah.
he's in America.
I saw him
He's
in
on-
Singapore.
Interest.
I got
not-
inside information that that Singapore is so clogged with unwanted classifieds that they're going to ship them off to Australia. So good news for you, Darren,
Wow.
and any one of our Aussie listeners.
That is
It's funny
lucky.
how they don't ship them off to South Africa anymore.
Boo,
Meh.
boo to that. Yeah, but we're swimming in He-Man figures. It seems every time I go to Toys R Us, I'm like, wow, like
Quite a lot.
this stuff doesn't seem
Quite a
to be in
selection.
abundance in Oz. So weird.
And
Weird.
on a side note, which I thought was kind of amusing, was the Mega Blocks Castle Grayskull, the big building block one. So that thing's like 3,300 rand or something, and I see it's been knocked down to 499 rand at Toys R Us.
What?
Yeah, the He-Man
Paul,
collector groups were like
into the
going
kill.
nuts with it. Hey,
Cool. Are you
yeah, so,
going
like, they were
to
showing off
swoop
their
into the
slips?
kill?
No.
Showing
know
off
where
their
to put it,
slips.
man.
Look, guys, I got a deal.
I got it for like
Amazing.
499 rands, bro. Yeah, it's like a.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, it's a good
That's
deal.
cool.
Oh, that's-
You're saying no, hey?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a part of me that would like to have it, but I don't know where to put it once I've built it. And
Oops.
yeah, I don't
Oh, a
know.
massive part of
I'm
you.
go-
So that's
I'm
25 pounds.
I'm
Stu. That's how much. That's how much it's going for in South Africa right now for 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Pocket
There
change.
we go.
Wow.
All right, Stu. It's time to cast your mind back into your toy prehistory. We touched
Okay.
on it very, very lightly in the interview, but I'd like
Yeah.
to put you on the spot and ask you how it was that you used to play with GI Joe. Like, and did it go through phases? Was there like an early stage where it was literally just you with your figures on your bed, tinkering with them, posing them a bit? Anyway, let me not speak for you, but talk us through it, man. What is your earliest GI Joe play memory?
So basically, as a kid, all I had was the Z-Force main battle tank and the Action Force with Steeler, yep, and the Action Force Sky Striker. So I never really had GI Joe or Action Force as a kid with like I could do missions because you can't do much with a tank and a jet, can you? And so I was just not. So basically, my time with GI Joe was spent around a friend's house. He was a local to me. And he was an only child, so he had practically everything you could want that was available in the UK as regards to GI Joe vehicles, figures.
Those only children.
So, yeah, I know. I had two sisters, so I was sort of like mixed
My
in
Little
with
Pony.
Barbie and My Little Pony and Care
Lord.
Bears and stuff like that. So, what can you do?
Endless guard duty, protecting those namby-pamby little critters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some of my figures. Where are they? You couldn't find some of my Star Wars figures and stuff like that, and they'll be sitting having like a little tea party and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah,
Well,
get them
being the
back.
consummate Star Wars collector, did you mix Sky Striker and X-Wing? Did you have
No,
like a hangar bay that had this eclectic mix of vehicles?
no, I was very anal back in those days. This is Star Wars, so I'll be doing Star Wars missions. This is GI Joe, so I'll be taking this stuff around my friend's house. So I never mixed the two. Even at an early age, I was like, no, that to me that didn't seem right. So I didn't do that. But going around my friend's house, I'd get around there at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning on a weekend, and we just spend all day just doing missions and just having a good time and just letting our imagination run wild with these figures and stuff like that. And we had some pretty epic missions. So, you know, games that would last like 4 or 5 days in the holidays, for example. You know, you'd start a mission on the first day of the
That's
holiday,
cool.
and then you'd just run it all the way through. But the only thing is, we had to have a good imagination and good memory as to where we'd left stuff, because we never used to really leave too much stuff outside. We always used to pack it up afterwards, take it back inside, dust it down, all that sort of stuff. Then I'd go home, then come back the next morning. Like, where was this? Okay, this was there. Where were we? Right, okay, and then just bang straight back into it. It was epic, and we had. I mean, this went on from the age of probably 8, I'd say, all the way up to probably 14, 15.
Amazing teenagers playing with action figures. Man,
cool.
oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in short supply, I tell you. Guys who actually like kept that up when, you know, sports and chicks were getting the other focus. Yeah. What are a rugby ball? But okay, that's fascinating, because then that truly does give me a cross section of ages. Like back in when you're 8, I assume it's just massive battles and then pack it in. But as you get older, did the plot lines get more nuanced? Did you kind of have
we
more
were
variation in what your characters
we
were
had
doing?
a lot of imagination back then, because we didn't have things like computer games, and we had comics, so we'd read some of the comics and probably get some ideas from them. We'd had the Sumbo cartoon, and we wouldn't copy like for like, but we'd say, okay, that idea, and we'd put it with this idea from the comic and stuff like that. So we're always bouncing off each other for ideas and stuff like that. And one of us would say, well, I've got a great idea for this mission, and we were like, okay, crack on, we'll do that. And you know, so I think definitely as the years went on, and our understanding of things of the world sort of like, you know, deepened, the missions did start getting a bit deeper. There was more of a sinister tone to some of the missions, as to where, when we were 8 years old and 9 and 10, it was all kind of like fairly innocent. And it was not that, you know, war was innocent or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? But there was no sinister, sort of like real sinister tone to it. I mean, Cobra Commander became more sinister, and we always, as we got older, we always used to sort of like imitate his voices, like Jack Nicholson sort of thing. He was like a kind of cool, calm, laid back kind of guy. So my friend always did like the Cobra Commander, whereas Destro, he was more like, I don't know, like James Earl Jones, Darth Vader, because he had the mask on his head, didn't he? So, and we were pretty crap at doing Scottish accents, so we just
Use this
didn't bother.
cartoon
Didn't
reference.
use the Scottish,
Well,
but yeah.
True story. Arthur Burkhart, who voiced him on the cartoon, he tells the story of how he auditioned for the role, and the casting director was like, "Give us Vader, give us James Earl Jones." He was like, "Guys, I do a different thing to Mr. Earl Jones. This is how I imagine it." And he did various variations, but it's pretty evident that I mean, in the eyes of the casting directors and probably the public, like Destro was seen as like this Vader-esque character. The mask, the taller stature, the black, the kind of, is he man, is he machine? So yeah, man, that's a very compelling line to draw.
But the thing is with that as well, I mean, Cobra Commander was Chris Latta, wasn't it? But he also did Starscream. So then when you watch the Transformers cartoon, you knew that the same guy that voiced Cobra Commander did Starscream, because their voices were practically the same. And for me, that took something away from Starscream or whoever, you know, or Cobra Commander. Because
I was thinking the other way around.
You want people to be. Well, I don't know which came first. I don't know whether it was Cobra Commander or Starscream. So
it would have been Cobra Commander. I think but Chris was doing something different in Mass Device. So the original GI Joe miniseries aired in September '83, which would have made it almost a year before Transformers. Because I think Transformers was definitely '84 when in that year they had their first cartoon episode. I don't know. I'm not a Transformers guy. But yeah, but like, as I say, Chris's performance definitely grew and modified. Like back then he was slurring on everything. You know, doing the kind of the snake hiss. And he kind of dropped that some ways along. But absolutely, I think you bang on the money by saying that, by knowing that it's the same voice as Starscream, it does kind of undermine it, because Starscream's character is to be this sniveling treacherous underling, and
Yeah.
like it's a I don't know if it's a correct read of the Cobra Commander character to make him sniveling and pathetic, but that's unfortunately the effect that it had.
That's how it came across, wasn't it? He was, he was
So-
like you mentioned him as a buffoon, didn't you? In the last.
What
week?
was your character reference for? Oh yes, you said Jack Nicholson. Brilliant.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Yeah. So we went
I
along
like
with
that.
Jack Nicholson, and I don't know why, but my friend did it, and I said,
That works.
just keep it. It worked. So it did work, and I mean, because
So
I
do you
thought
imagine
Jack
him
Nicholson
being the kind of leader who has his feet up on the desk? It's kind of laid back.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of Jack Nicholson's character in A Few Good Men.
Okay.
He
right.
was like
the
all,
military
like,
decorum.
calm and this,
yeah.
that, this, that, and the other. But then if you peed
You
him
can't
off,
handle the truth.
yeah. And we didn't do that, but it was that kind of thing where he would, get mad, and that'd be it. He would, people would be scared of him and stuff like that. So they were always on edge around him and stuff like that. And that's why we went with that voice for Cobra Commander back when we were kids.
Cool. I'm envious of that. I didn't actually have a compelling Cobra Commander action figure for the longest time. I had the one that was released in 1991, who has gone down in history thanks to Hooded Cobra Commander's review as like Disco Medallion Cobra Commander.
That's the one with the hood, isn't it?
He's got a red faceplate, so it's kind of a return to the aesthetic of the battle helmet Cobra Commander, but he's got like really muscled out physique and this gigantic golden Cobra sigil on his.
Is that him
where
there?
it's like
No,
that's
Paul's
just being an asshole. Paul's-
I was going to say.
Paul's contribution on this podcast is to like derail us basically, because for those of you listening to the audio only version, he's basically holding up his collection figure after figure to try and I suppose throw our flow. Hey, now it's Clean Sweep's turn. What's Clean Sweep got to say, Paul?
It's Operation Mass Distraction. While we send quick kick in to do the real dirty work.
Which is the best Eco Warriors figure and why is it Clean Sweep? Paul, tell us.
Well, he looks like this, dude.
The
He's very unique. He looks, he looks like us now.
Hey, I signed
We
my
look like him
TPS
now.
reports.
Wow.
It's true.
No, I don't feel like. I mean, Clean Sweep is great, but come now, like the best Eco Warriors character is Cesspool, man. That's the best toy in my opinion.
Is this going over your heads too? Are you au fait with the?
No,
90s guys?
I know the Eco Warriors, and I got to say I wasn't a big fan. I preferred the figures and vehicles from 1982 up to probably just before the Eco Warriors started kicking in. I mean, they just didn't do anything for me at all as figures, or so. I mean, I don't know why they decided to go down that route, but I don't think it was a very wise choice. That's my opinion. I mean, people could agree.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
No,
With
a
your
lot of
powers
people do
combined,
agree with
I
you.
am Captain Planet.
Well, there you go. That's 1990 onwards. It was very much influenced by whatever change was going on in the world at the time.
Coming back to Cobra Commander, because now that you guys have touched on it and you got this cool voice, our Cobra Commander was like super powered. It's like a god, like a powerful evil god.
How could you
And
do that?
we had
to
the
a
orange face
regular
version.
character. That's weird.
Yeah, we just made him that because we had no other version of Cobra Commander. We had like the orange face one was the only one. In fact, the more I look at him these days, the more I feel like he should have been part of the hang glider squad. What are they called?
Air Commandos.
Air Commandos, yes, because I keep wanting to call them Sky Patrol. But I keep feeling like he's supposed to be part of that because this looks like rigging, for like being on a battle copter or something. Much the same. But,
That's to keep his muscles in.
yeah.
So by using him as a superpowered character, Paul, what would you say you were taking direct influence from?
Dragon
Was it
Ball
Cobra
Z.
Law, Dragon Ball Z? Okay. In all things anime.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this was when I was introduced to anime. I mean, I was like 8-9 years old, and I'd never seen anything like Dragon Ball Z in my life. And here it was, and I'd seen Saint Seiya, and David and I were playing with GI Joes, and there was a military edge, which was very inspired by, action movies that we were watching, and American Ninja and whatever else, and then anime. You know, like all of our ninjas were fighting like, hold on, our ninjas were fighting like this. It was all like, you know, that kind of crap. You know, and like
Boss battles.
fireballs. And then when Ninja Force came, oh my word, the fact that we had so many cool melee weapons, I mean, that started getting crazy. And then we could like, and then it was like Chinese kung fu films, and it was all like kind of thing.
Wire work
And then
stuff.
why exactly that kind of Once Upon a Time in China was a big influence for us when we were kids. And you know what was also pretty cool with that was when literally the only cool thing about the shadow ninjas are the translucent weapons, because then that started becoming like energy weapons, you know, like chi weapons, you know, and so like that
All of a sudden you
vibe.
make me want to remove the paint that I, as a child, painted onto those translucent weapons, because
Well,
that
they-
is kind of
they
cool.
weren't realistic
You
at
and
all.
Dragon Fortress have both like convinced me that they should be restored back to the way they
Oh,
looked.
they're cool, man. I love them see-through weapons. They're great.
Anyway,
But
way to
guys,
go,
I mean-
Paul. We have totally hijacked the interview here. Yeah.
No, I've
But it's
got to
also-
say, I found it
Mhm.
interesting when Paul said that you had Cobra Commander as some kind of like godlike figure. We never did that. Our godlike figure, if you want, and the guy that was spreading the word, and the one that was Serpentor. We had him as the guy that was sort of like spreading the word of Cobra and stuff like that. And we just had Cobra Commander as the military kind of guy and stuff like that.
No,
So we always
Serpentor
had
was. Yeah, sorry, Stu.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and then we just used to have like you know, they used to play off each other and stuff like that, and you know, then we had like different factions and stuff like that. Some going over towards Serpentor, others would be back in Cobra Command, and we used to have like in-house squabbles, like civil wars and stuff like that, which was pretty cool.
No, Serpentor was gonna be like, when I say was gonna be, he was gonna be like our Cell kind of character from Dragon Ball Z. He would be like the evolution, like. But we never got a Serpentor ever. The closest we got to Serpentor was on the little catalog, and we had sent off the letter with our points, our flag points, and everything.
They never re-released him.
At least
he was only a
wanted
mail away.
Yes, yeah. So
Serpentor, for all his importance, he had a very brief release window. So you either got him in 86 and 87 in the United States, or a little bit later in the UK, or I don't know when he reached maybe Australia or
Didn't
Singapore.
they do like
but
an
like
ugly yellow one as well? Sorry.
They did a comic pack that Rob has.
Right.
Hey Rob, you've now got
but
the original gold, and you've got the comic
and
pack
the yellow
version.
one.
Yeah,
The original gold's much better.
OG Rob.
But yeah, the yellow version, I think, obviously that was the only other version they ever released.
Has got a removable helmet though, so you can see his face.
One advantage.
Well, guys, I don't know what it was like with and Rob and Steve. I don't know if you guys were ever like this, but I know with like David and I, it was a situation of Dion's the shop was at one part of Northgate, and whenever we went to Northgate, we
for
parked at
us,
the other
Dion's
part
was
of
in the
Northgate.
exact same place in Northgate. It did not move.
No. Relativity be damned, but David would come to my place on a Saturday, and then on Saturday we would go to like the shops and stuff, so we can go play arcades or whatever. So my mom did shopping or whatever. And there was always a rush. Like literally, we got there and we ran to Dion's. Yeah, it was basically that. We would run to Dion's because how it would work is a lot of the times it's your first person to that shop has first pick, which is how I was lucky enough to get characters like Static Line before David.
You were fighting with your friend, competing like you had
Yes,
a
dude.
race.
David was like,
like
super
lay your
competitive.
hand on the figure first. That's incredible. Man.
And yeah, and then and that pretty much carried on until David got a motorbike.
All right, then he could just
then he
race
could go to the
through
shops
the
whenever he
mall
wanted
and
to.
get there
So,
quicker than you.
No
Yeah.
chance.
No,
So,
I don't think.
wait,
Stephen
hang
and I
on.
ever
What
did
if?
that.
So you both like got to Iraq and were scrolling through the, flipping through the action figures on the pegs. That's mind-boggling to
Try and
just
get
know
as many
that level
guys,
of
try and get-
competition.
Yeah, we were like that,
Oh,
dude.
jeez.
We
So
would
you
be
quickly
looking at
scan
stuff
it
on the
like.
back. Yeah,
Oh,
we'd be looking at the back of the thing and going, okay, like, because we're stupid. Like, we would be like, oh, maybe they'll have an alley viper. For whatever. It's mine. No, it's mine. I'll get it. Like, you run.
How did you like? And I assume these are the figures that everyone wants, and so the likelihood of finding duplicates is unlikely. So, and
Yeah.
in the case of a duplicate, would you guys each get one, or did you be like, so you got that one, I'm not going to get it because I'll get
kind
to
of what
play with
happened.
yours, I'll get to enjoy yours.
Yeah. But there were
Still.
certain
Hence the
figures that
competition.
like, yeah,
That's
but there were
rough,
certain
man.
figures that were like never shared, like Snake Eyes. David had Snake Eyes first, right off the bat. And actually, I was remembering this last night because I watched Robin Williams's Toys, which takes me all the way back to
Oh,
like
jeepers.
when Northgate actually opened, and that was the first.
Do they
time.
feature any GI Joe in toys?
They do. They've got the battle wagon in the background. It's when they're
Okay.
making war toys. There's a battle wagon in the background in the production, and like this whole bunch of toys and stuff in the background, and the battle wagons there. So that was pretty cool.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
I need to dust my damn battle wagon, and that's going to be fun with the electronics. I've been subjecting a lot of my toys to soapy baths recently. The whale is an absolute bastard. I mean, just trying to get into those intricate little spaces that are so fragile with a toothbrush. Anyway, I mean, can I just say the whale was a sadistic exercise by whoever designed it? Because, I mean, kids of the 80s be damned. I know they were smarter than the rest of us, but like that is just an evil toy. Even back in the day when you were assembling it fresh, those veins are so fiddly.
Oh yeah.
Like to
Yeah,
think that was a toy of the 80s. Like
Kids
that's
just had
handing
marketing in the
kids a
80s.
lot of trust.
With the whale,
Yeah.
you've got the compartment underneath. Now, that, to me, I don't know whether that's a storage compartment or whether they originally designed that as to have like batteries and have the propellers on a motor. But then I
Yeah,
don't know
I
whether they
see the
thought, hang on a
space,
minute,
that was cool.
what you do is you get kids put their fingers in the propellers and they'd be losing their fingers. So they're like, no, that's a bit too dangerous. Not that it would be that quick and powerful, but you never know, dear. So I wonder if that was a battery compartment or whether it's just going to be just a storage compartment.
I just fail to think that something like the whale would ever be approved by toy regulations today. I mean, everything's so dumbed down,
So
like
many small parts.
it's foolproof because we are fools. I mean,
We are very foolish.
kids these days, they don't know how to play with toys. But I want to keep on this tip, Stu. I want to see if you can recall any actual, like the content of your missions. Maybe some of the stuff that you were doing as a 14 or 15-year-old, like how did it start? What was the objective? What was the opponent? Did you always play from the perspective of the good guys?
We mixed it up. We were never solely. I was never solely the good guys or the Joes and Cobra. We sort of mixed it up, and
And it was cooperative play. You weren't antagonizing one another. You weren't. I'll play Joe. You play Cobra.
No. It was a case of okay. So we would always sit down for about 10, 15 minutes before and just discuss. Even as kids, it's ridiculous to think. Even as kids, we would discuss where's this going to go, what is our outcome and stuff like that. So we'd always start off as like it was in a like a frontline battle scene. We'd set everything up in a battle scene, and the objective was for either Cobra to take the island over or the Joes to take the island over because it was going to be like a main stronghold, and we just take it from there, and then it would just wherever the wind would take us. You know, one mission I remember was to do with Serpentor, and he was alone in some Egyptian like village and what have you. And Crankcase was there because he was left there because he'd got injured in a previous mission, so he got like I would say Joe's.
He's recuperating in a hospital.
He was no, it was just like an old abandoned like sort of village. So then I can remember we did at least an hour
going native.
Yeah,
cool.
With Crankcase and Serpentor, and you know they're out to get each other sort of thing because Serpentor found.
I think we've missed a step though, Stu.
Go on.
During your planning phase, did you divvy up the collection? Say, okay, you'll play as Serpentor, I'll play as Crankcase, and take it from there. Like who's got which figure under their control, or did you kind of have a rotating or revolving door on things?
It would be like, well, I don't agree with that. So we'd be like, okay, so I mean, predominantly it would be, I could be both of them, and then my friend would be going, "What you up to?" And I said, "Well, this is the situation these guys are in," and he'd be off doing something else in another part of the game and stuff like that. It was a really really weird. like sort of setup. It was no, I don't know. There's no rules type sort of thing. Apart from we got to the point where if a vehicle gets blown up, it gets blown up, and whoever's in it is dead, sort of thing.
Mhm.
And the first missile that hit one of the fangs blew up. Oh, he's dead. Who was it? Scrap Iron. And my mate was like, "Oh, Jesus, he was one of my favourite characters and stuff like that."
Oh,
So
I
we had
hated
to,
that.
we had to
Don't
give
raise
a
him
pass
anymore.
on that. So, but no, we just
What really
it was just like
fascinates
free fall.
what really fascinates me is you had sequences of actual plot driving that were done independently. The
Yeah.
only time my mates and I played independently was during a big battle where we'd each kind of pair off into our own separate, like, I suppose, showdowns. And then we'd come together, battle tested and haggard by the end of it and like plant the explosives and get out of the base or whatever the play pattern was. But it sounds
Yeah.
to me like you progressed plot separately and then had to brief each other on what had happened previously on X-Men.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was pretty much like that. I was like, so I would stop sort of like what I'm doing and then go and just join in with what he was doing. And I said, okay, so what's the situation here? Or he would do the same thing. What's the situation going on here? Then we'd sort of like interject, or we might even swap over and take he might have had an idea for one mission and one part of the game. And then I would jump in and, help out. And then he'd sort of like go off and concentrate on doing what I was doing and stuff like that. And then but we always had like a main goal outcome that we wanted to reach. Sometimes we might have reached that within the first day or two. If not, if it's in the summer holidays, like I say, our missions could last 3-4 weeks. It was crazy. It would to think that as kids, that is what we would do day in, day out. And that is what I miss about my childhood, is that
It's
time
not crazy,
playing and
Stu.
just using it. No, but it is to think, because
You're in
doesn't
good
happen
company
now.
right here, man.
It
Yeah,
doesn't happen now,
that's
does
true.
it? And that's the sad thing. There's no imagination with kids these days. I don't want to get too deep, but I just don't think there
This
is.
is the
You've
right
got to-
forum for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Tablets have kind of stolen their youth away. Like they're not able to use their minds to create a narrative. And I don't speak
No,
about
they're
all
not
kids.
bored.
I certainly am privy to friends' kids' playtimes, and I've spoken to them before on occasions, and there are still kids out there that do have these imaginary worlds, but it's definitely in the sharp minority now. Did Crankcase ever get his man? Did he get Serpentor in the old end?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Excellent. Even with an injury, what injury did
In
old
the back of
Crankcase
a head with his pistol.
Hey.
Oh,
It was
Nice.
savage.
Brutal.
It was pretty savage. And then that was it. He'd gone. And then
Wow.
then he come and got picked up. Someone come and picked him up. I don't know if it was Scarlet or someone like that, come and picked him up, and they whisked him away.
what
That
in the
is
bag?
badass.
And then Serpentor was just like laying there. Yeah. No, Crankcase was cool. He got away. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Badass.
Hi, where did you
friend of
base
mine actually
your-
made Crankcase Outback's father.
Oh,
Outback's Stu, in fact. Richard, he
Wow.
has
Yes.
that kind of continuity. Kind of explains
Rob, you were
why
saying, bro?
Crankcase looks perhaps a little bit fuddy-duddy. He has the like turn of the century moustache and the combed hair.
Yeah. If
Rob,
guys,
Robbie,
I
say
get
something,
sometimes I get quite excitable, and my speech starts to like speed up. So if I go too fast or people don't understand what I'm saying, just say,
you're
"Whoa,
totally
fella,
understandable.
Slow down,
Like,
slow down.
You're very easily understood. Don't worry.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You're not Scottish. You're not Scottish.
No.
No, I was wondering, where did your characterizations of the characters come from for GI Joe? Like, what was it based off? Was it just the file cards? Were you regularly reading the Action Force comic books? Was it
We
just
read
your
the
own
comics, but
imagination?
we like to put our own stuff on it. I mean, there was one character, Leatherneck, and we always had him down as a real miserable, grumpy git, real proper miserable. And I can remember he was out on a mission, and one of his like team got shot and got killed, and he had a grudge against, I can't remember which other character it was or figure it was, but he had a grudge. We held that grudge for a long time. It's like it's your fault that he's died, and those two would always end up like fighting proper. I don't know whether that would come from the cartoon or not. I don't know, but we, from what I can remember, he was like the real grump of the. And he had this grudge against, I can't remember who it was, but he had a grudge because his partner got shot and killed. and he blamed this other guy for it. So
there was definitely a sort of a continuity of your own that happened eventually. That you had your own continuity going on. That's actually really cool, though.
Yeah, oh yeah,
we had your own idea of like how the characters interacted.
Yeah. I mean, because like Scarlet and I call it a love triangle with Scarlet and Duke and Snake Eyes. There was always that thing that we had going on between those three as well. So is she going to side with Duke or is she going to go with Snake Eyes and stuff like that? But
interesting.
Okay.
It's a.
I must be honest, David and I never played the love angle things ever with any of the characters because we didn't have any female characters. It's like easier not to like worry about.
When you start using like X-Men figures and Star Wars figures,
just gotta
whatever you've got to hand.
Yeah. See, again, we didn't do that. We just
everybody.
We just carried on using those figures. I mean, I think Scarlet was the only Scarlet and the Baroness, but at the time were the only sort of like GI Joe female figures. I mean, I know there was CoverGirl, but we never had her. And then there was obviously Quarrel from Z Force, which was
basically I mean, the Action Force release of the Wolverine would have had
Hunter. Yeah, he was
okay. So let's. Oh, was the Hunter? Yeah. Yes, the SAS.
That's the SAS one. Yeah. Sorry,
Wolverine. But I think they did a later one, didn't they? Which
they did,
had a repainted, or not even repainted. It was just a slightly darker rock and roll. Stu, I'm going to turn one of your questions back on you and say, what gives you the buzz currently?
Of toy collecting?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or however you want to phrase it. Toy collecting, toy playing, toy appreciation.
Well, listen, I've definitely got a toy appreciation, and I would definitely class myself as a toy collector because I don't sort of like play. I mean, I redid the Whale a couple of years ago, so I guess you kind of call that playing. But what gives me the buzz? Just the fact.
We're talking repro stickers, reproduction veins.
I used
like
to.
What?
No. When you clean something up and restore
it,
bloody hell, yeah. So I restored the
word we
Whale.
were trying to come up with last time.
So yes, it was. It's got reproduction veins because I just couldn't find any decent ones online, and the ones that they did have. I didn't want to sort of like pay that kind of money for them. So, but for me personally, it gives me a buzz just coming in this room and just sitting looking at these figures because I've got an appreciation of them. The original Star Wars figures, although they weren't mine as a child, I can sit and look at them and think, wow, these take me back to the days when I was a kid, and I can appreciate those times and like wallow in nostalgia for like a good couple of hours and stuff like that. And then I look at the modern day stuff and think, wow, how figures have progressed and advanced in the years since I was a kid with the articulation, the sculpts, the photoreal faces. I mean, they are fantastic, but you're never going to get that same nostalgia pull as a 5 POA figure or a vintage O-ring figure. You just won't, no matter how much you look at this stuff and appreciate it. I mean, I guess the closest would be the Master of the Universe figures, the Origins, because they are pretty similar to what they were. They don't have the swivel action hips or anything like that, but they look pretty much how they did when I was a kid. So, but yeah,
Agreed.
Just the buzz is just being able to sit and look back, and because I don't get a buzz when you pre-order something. Because you're waiting for ages for it to come through. I mean, sometimes you can wait a year. It's like there was no buzz in me. I was excited to get it, the Sky Striker, but you've got to wait for ages. So there's the excitement sort of goes, and then it turns up and you go, oh yeah, brilliant, fantastic. I think you get more of a buzz if you go to like a store and stuff like that and find something.
Or a toy show, my word.
Or a toy show, yeah. We've got one coming up this Saturday.
Yes.
What is this coming Saturday? We've got a toy fair.
Can I come? Can I come?
If you want, man.
Goodness.
Yeah,
buddy.
Do it,
Yes,
Steve.
please.
So yeah, that's
Fly
what gives
on
me
up.
the buzz. Just being able to sit back and look at this and appreciate it, and then I guess I suppose the community definitely, because you're talking to like-minded people, and with me, I'm like, I collect all sorts of stuff, so it's great to hear different people's perspectives on collecting Star Wars, GI Joe, He-Man, Transformers, whatever they're into. I just love listening to it, and it definitely gives me a buzz just talking to you guys and talking to other people about like toys and stuff. So,
reason for starting the channel, I presume.
well, that was Scuba Pete's fault.
Very good.
So totally blame him. So he kind of got me back into being in the Instagram. Well, I wasn't in the Instagram group to start with, but he said, come and join the group. You've got people in there that you know, we'd love to chat to you and stuff like that. You don't have to post anything. Well, I'm going to use an analogy from Carl Pilkington. I don't know if you heard Carl Pilkington. So Pete was saying he's an idiot abroad, basically, with Ricky.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah.
So Pete said to
I know
me,
the show.
you can come and you don't have to post any pictures or just, you know, say hello. You don't have to post any pictures. Well, for me, that's like someone saying, that's like me saying, I'm going to go stand in a brothel and just watch and not take part. So you've got the same part. So then,
Why bother?
yeah. So then I just end up like posting pictures and stuff like that. And then I said to Pete, do you want to do like a live stream sort of thing? And he's going, yeah, I'm up for it. So we did that. And so the first couple, I technically, on my part, weren't very good. I mean, I had a good time doing it, but there was things that went wrong. And there was one live stream we did, and we had so we was on camera, but then we had a second camera set up as well. So then when we went to show what we were in our top 10, we would focus on that, and then we'd come off and it would be our like vehicle for Star Wars. Well, I was having a lot of echo and reverb, and I was like, I can't concentrate, Pete. I can't concentrate. So I come off screen. Little did I know the reason why, but I was effing and blinding, and I really was giving it some. And Pete was sitting there going, it's okay, dude. It's fine. It's fine. But I didn't realize he could hear me. And everybody on the live stream could hear me swearing in the background. I'd left my volume on the camera phone. So, of course, it was picking up. So that's why there was the reverb and stuff like that. But Pete was like, yeah, okay, cheers. And there's me effing and jeffing in the background. And Pete's just going, it's like, hey, dude, it's fine.
We run a clean show. Well, I was about to say, you
Yeah.
don't have much in common with an idiot abroad other than the fact that you're both Englishmen. But yeah, I suppose being that guy on the show, effing and jeffing.
Yeah,
man.
but I said to Pete, I said, because I didn't realize, so I apologize when I looked back at it. I was like horrified. I was like, oh my god, I can laugh about it now, but
funny, man.
But yeah.
So this is unprecedented on GI Joburg, but I'm curious and I'd like to know the answer, since you are primarily a Star Wars guy, and we did do the action figure identikit up front. I'm now wanting to know what your favorite vintage Star Wars action figure is of all time. Like, hands down, what's your go-to? What's your main guy or girl?
Dengar.
I was going to say Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett's always in with a chance, but you go Dengar.
Yeah.
What is it about that panty?
It's just yeah. I can't. You can't beat a bit of pantyhose around your head. I think it's a sexy look. No. It's, I don't know. He was just the go-to guy as a kid, and I just thought, well, look, Boba Fett's getting all the attention. He's the main guy. So I just thought, and Dengar, and it's just stuck. I love his costume.
Okay.
Blaster's
not too bad either.
It's decent. He had next to no screen time at all, but again, imagination takes you to that place where you think that character can be, and I think that's the great thing about childhood, is the imagination of kids. Certainly back then, I don't know about now, it just ran wild, and we were allowed to explore our imagination and stuff like that. And we got that from like creative writing in our English classes and stuff like that. Just feel free to write and do stuff, and that's how we did as play. We were allowed to use our imagination. We weren't told, no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that. I mean, this day and age, who's going to want kids playing around with like this terrorist group that are blowing things up and stuff like that? They're not going to want, this day and age, people aren't going to want to do that and see that, are they? Not for their kids. Back in the 80s and stuff like that, it wasn't a problem because it was just innocent
kicking
play.
Ass.
Yeah, exactly. And I listen, we knew the difference between right and wrong, but it didn't matter because it was playtime. It was an imagination. So we could just explore that. And we did fully explore that, and that's why I like Dengar, because the things that I had him doing were the things that Boba Fett would have been doing. So and he looks cool anyway. Like I say, the colors, and
I need to take another look at the vintage figure of Dengar. Did they do a vintage collection one? A sort of modern update?
VCO1. VCO1.
Oh, one. Jeez.
Yeah, VCO1. And I got him, I think it was last year or the year before, from the States on the original card. I paid a pretty penny for him, and let's put it that way. But he and I said to the guy when he's shipping, look, please can you pack this properly and look after it? He said, look, I've sent worldwide, not an issue. And it come in pristine condition. So I've got him in a star case or an acrylic case. He's staying on the card. So
he's the one classic bounty hunter of the Executor 6 that I just don't have. Got the rest, but don't have Dengar in any form. So I should probably look into fixing that. Awesome,
he's fairly decent in Black Series as well. Pretty cool in Black Series. Have you got a loose? As well.
Oh, right, okay.
A loose Dengar. Hang on, just excuse me.
Haha, toy time with Stu.
So,
oh, sweet, man.
Oh, let's get it in focus. Get it in focus. So, that. Where the bloody hell am I going? Is it focused? Focus.
It's coming.
Getting there.
There you go. So that's
great weathering.
He just looks absolutely awesome. So I'm really pleased with that. That is so cool. I do like him. He's an awesome figure.
It's a great figure.
I remember the fact that you got love for the sort of the more ungainly, like less glamorous guy. I mean, Dengar fans of the world, unite. Stu's bearing your arms.
No, but guys, awesome. I remember when Kotobukiya did this series of statuettes for the Boba Fett,
for the bounty
hunters. So they had Boba, Folam, IG-88, etc. And I remember like Dengar used to sit there in our store for like forever, and it was just and one day somebody came in and was like, "Oh my god, you got Dengar!" And I was like, "Why? Is that the only one you need to finish your set?" He's like, "No, this is the only one I want." And I was like,
"The only one I want." Aww,
that's cool. Are dedicated Dengar fans out there, so like that's pretty cool. I'm not one of them.
Let's turn our attention to the future of toy collecting, boys. Sorry, Paul. I'm going to jump on you.
No.
I think I kind of have an idea of what the Joburg fellas would answer to this question. So, Stu, this is firmly directed at you for now. Is there a ceiling to the action figure collecting? Or, like, as long as you draw breath, you will be looking for toys to buy?
I think at the moment, the way things are, financially, I think I'm definitely going to be sort of like cutting back. I was at a time
where I say that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I need. But there's always something else to collect. There's always something else to collect. It's like I collect the Disney pins, whether they be Star Wars or Marvel. So I've got them. So I get them every now and again when I go abroad and stuff like that to Florida. I like lightsabers. I'm now dipping my toes into the more into the comics, more into trading cards and stuff like that, and then sending them off to get graded. I mean, listen, I'm really easily influenced, and since 2020, my collection has gone, from like a little collection up to like a big old collection, and because I'm easily influenced. I see people on YouTube, and I think, God, I like that. I like this. But I've had to rein it in a bit. A because of the space. I mean, it's like my wife was saying, she doesn't mind me having the stuff in the collection. She's just worried because we do not have. Chris loves the whale. He's doing his own restoration as well. Bless him. So fair play, Chris. Thank you, mate. But it's just the fact that we do not have the space or place that we want to live at the moment to store it all, because as much as I love collecting, I don't want it sat in boxes. I mean, a lot of people I've heard say if they'd rather like pass it on and move it on. I'm not in a position to do that at the moment, or I feel I'm in that situation, because I know at some point in the future we will have a place big enough to be able to display it all. But yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
so you're not selling off as you go, like you're buying, keeping,
No,
storing.
I have sold off stuff in the past. I
Mhm.
sold all my SAS collection. I sold that to a guy on eBay, and in my Z Force collection, I had all the figures apart from I think the dock. I had a lot of the vehicles, like I had the APC, the Z Force
yeah.
one with the medical bay inside it and stuff like that.
Mm.
I had the Jeep, the motorcycle, a few of the big cannon guns and stuff like that. And I just said, look, Scuba, would you be interested in this? And he was away on holiday at the time. And he's like, yes. He said, how much? So I said, this is my asking price. I said, but I could go down to this. And he said, I can definitely do that. I was like, fine, okay.
Awesome.
Packed it up for him, sent it to him. I know it's in a good home. I know he'll look after it. He loves it. And do I regret selling it? I no, because Z Force and SAS Force, when I was a kid, I sort of bypassed it because I was more into Star Wars. And then when GI Joe actually kicked in, it was the O-Ring GI Joe, and I thought, well, these are a lot better than the 5POA figures. So that's why it didn't hold any nostalgia for me, I guess, apart from the main battle tank, which was the only sort of like vehicle I had as a kid with the Sky Striker. But yeah,
And I mean, the figure that came with it was articulated like a GI Joe anyway.
yes, yeah, he was, yeah.
It fit in. We got an interesting comment from Andrew, MCDJ-ACDC, who says he always thought that the storage compartment on the whale underneath was for styrofoam to help keep it afloat in water.
Oh,
and
see,
I wish they'd
Good
included that
crossover
piece of styrofoam then.
Yeah.
Well, they
I
did
was-
with some of the other vehicles, didn't
I
they?
was amazed to see that the original Shark blueprints indicate that there are foam blocks that are meant to go into the hull. I mean, that was dropped when they did the Sky Shark, and certainly dropped when they did the same mold for the Wave Crusher in like the 2000s. But back in '84, they did not want you to lose your shark neath the waves, so it actually came with little blocks of styrofoam, or so I'm told. I've yet to actually crack open a vintage shark and see those decayed pieces of styrofoam. My goodness. So here we go, guys. The crux of this discussion, and this is a very mind-bending topic, an important one that comes to us from Swordsman, aka Matthew Comstock, member of the Berg Force. And it's something that we've been dying, or I've been dying to address for a long time, but haven't had the right forum for it. And tonight we have such a forum. Where do good toys go when we die? What is the ultimate fate of these incredible collections? Let's start subtle. Let's start humble. Rob, have you ever considered where your toys are going to go when you're no longer alive?
I really haven't actually ever considered that. Like, I don't know what. Yeah, I haven't really thought that far. I mean, you spend your entire life collecting the toys and having them, and now you have them.
And
it's like
comics
you
in
don't
your
think-
case.
and comics as well. Yeah, and I really haven't thought beyond that. Like what happens to that stuff when I'm gone?
Into the casket with you, my
Wow.
friend.
I
It's gotta
reckon
be a
so. I
big
mean,
casket.
my collection is small enough that you could probably do that. Actually,
You'd be surprised, man. Take it from one who has filled up many a box and moved toys in my lifetime. Yeah, that stuff takes up space.
I'm gonna
pretty
have to
quick.
rent like a double space in the graveyard, maybe, or like a triple space, my own like mausoleum or something. So you can just like line the walls with my toys, and they can just die in there with me. I don't know.
You
Maybe
can
they
just
keep me
mince them
company.
up and like be buried in plastic chips. Like this looks like a piece of a molar. All right, Paulie, how about you, man?
Wow.
I would like
Have you ever
a
considered
pyramid.
it?
I have. I've considered
Pyramid.
a few options.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So
Very big now.
the pie in the sky is, win the lotto and then get a pyramid made, and then they can bury my toys and video game collection with me. That'd be cool. But no, actually, what I'd really like them to go to, if I have kids, if I'm blessed with kids, I really would like to put in a clause there, like if they want access to their trust fund, my 80s GI Joe collection has to make it until they're 30.
Who
with the
determines
other
what
rules.
make it is? This is going to be a
Yeah.
complex bit of draftsmanship, man.
No, but I have actually spoken about it quite a bit, about who it should go to. I mean, Steve, even your name has popped up in those conversations.
Wow.
when it comes
The
to
way I
where
live,
my
bro,
toy
I'll be
collection
dead.
goes. But yeah. Otherwise, I think it's pretty bad that a lot of us do want to kind of get buried with our collections, though, because I mean it's just gonna pollute the earth. So yeah, I would like to.
No matter what happens, Paul, the toys will eventually end up in the dump somewhere eventually.
Exactly.
I mean, 150, 200 years from now, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, eventually someone is going to be like, okay, we're going to throw this out now.
Of course,
So
and then they're going to miss out on
inevitable.
paying for a college education, because that's actually when this stuff is going to be worth something. It's to
I don't know for sure. Your great grandchildren are going to have,
they're
buy
going to be
houses
like,
with
they're going to be like,
them.
Dad had Storm Shadow and it's worth like $1 billion, some shit. But because every other collector's gone and buried their collection themselves with their collection, so now it's going to become kind of rare.
Anything that's left over is going to be worth a lot of money.
What I would like to do is at least pass on, not the legacy is the wrong word, but I'd like to pass on the enjoyment I had with these toys to my children, in the form of, letting them understand the story behind my stuff, and if they do want to keep it, by all means. If they don't, they can throw it away, because honestly, I'll be dead. So like, it doesn't really matter much. Unless, of course, we can download ourselves to a computer chip and then re-upload ourselves into a new body or something. I don't know.
Well, there we go.
Paul, I've got to interrogate you further,
forever.
but you need to consider what would happen if you died tomorrow. Like that's the more immediate question that I want to ask, because
You're getting a bunch of new shit.
If you have offspring, okay, well, thank you, fair enough. But do you have some device in place? Do you have a will?
Yes.
Have you nominated your toy collection in your will?
Yes, I have actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
my
I've
financial
not thought
lady
that
actually
far
asked me to
at
do a will, to draft a will, because of Gunpla SA as well. She asked me to yeah.
That's
so
wild.
what happens to
I
Gunpla
think,
SA when I die as well? So
I think my mother would probably just have to decide who gets it. She'd probably just give it all to Stephen as well, actually. So Stephen's going to get all the stuff that he gave me 2 years ago back again.
Rob, I wouldn't like place my faith in someone else making the correct decision. Consider drafting a will.
I guess I could, but I literally can't. I don't think that far ahead. Like my brain does not perceive time beyond right now. Like
fair enough. Living in the moment.
Yeah,
Stu, I hope you've had enough time to ponder this. Maybe you've already considered it.
Yeah, you made it kind of easy by saying, "What if I died now?" Well, not now, because it wouldn't be very good live on air, would it? But if it was like,
before you even tell us the answer.
Yeah. No, if it was tomorrow, I would get my wife to sell it and pay for my funeral.
That's actually a good option.
Because
it's a pretty lavish
funeral these days. I mean, it would be. I'd be coming in on the barge. That'd be taking me in. That'd be awesome. But
and the Star Wars theme.
If it was like years and years and years to come, when I'm a little old pensioner and stuff like that, I'll get my wife to sell it and pay for my funeral.
Very good.
So
nice.
Yeah. No, I have kids.
Selling
but
it.
The thing is, I mean,
selling it presents such a problem. It's a logistical nightmare. Like she would probably sell it in big lots and not nearly as much.
Well, knowing my wife, she'd keep it because she loves this sort of stuff. I mean,
does she?
She's
brilliant.
Very much into it as well. So I'm very thankful. Most people just have one big room to put their collection. Mine's spread over 3 rooms. So I've got figures on shelves in the bedroom, in the master room. I've got stuff in the front room. I've got a massive TIE Fighter collection in front of the TV set. Behind the couch, I've got the sail barge and all my Lego. Lego's another thing. And then I've got this room here as well. So, I'm very fortunate that she encourages me to buy stuff. I mean, listen, I mean, they always say you got to listen to a woman. So, and the woman's always right, or the lady's always right, should I say, or your wife's always right. And she said, well, if you see it, buy it, because you don't know when you're going to see it again. I don't need any other invitation than that, do I? What more do I need? If you see it, buy it. Okay, I like that. I'm having that. And it's
Jeepers, Stu. You hit the jackpot, son.
Well, that's what I always tell people as well. You visit the comic book shop, if they see a figure, or even if it's not something that we have, if you see it, buy it, because it literally, you may not ever see it again.
Mhm.
at that price even. You're going to pay hundreds of thousands more for that item. All right.
Bob Squad wants to know, hypothetically, could someone get buried in their flag? I suppose someone of a certain stature.
Well,
I'm
Bob could.
if
He's
you-
short
ever
enough.
Is he?
He's very short, yeah.
Paul's a contortionist. So yes on Paul's
Well, you
part.
could get
I
cremated
couldn't.
and placed inside it. I mean, obviously
Viking
that would
funeral
always
just-
work.
I do have well, in our flag review from
You
ages
do lie
past,
down next to it.
I do
Yeah,
lie
you
down
are-
next to it and kind of snuggle up on it. But yeah, the hull itself, yeah, wouldn't
It's not wide
accommodate
enough.
me.
It's long enough, but
top
it
to
wouldn't be
toe.
wide enough.
What if you laid on your
I'm
side?
dead. You shrivel up, don't you? When you lose some weight.
They could lay you on your side.
Yeah,
They'd have to build a
Can we
custom
nullify
hull,
you?
essentially. Like basically, like create a casket and then lay the deck plates on top. Slide the tower in. Put a few sky strikers on top. Yeah, that'd be quite a handsome
armor on the
solution.
tower.
Yeah.
giving a navy salute. Oh man, good
That's
times.
Oh,
like
dear.
Viking funeral. Just
what about
Put
you,
the
Steve?
little thing in
What
your
about
other
you?
hand.
What would
Ah.
you do?
Cheers, Stu.
What
I
would you
always
do?
kind of
What's
slip
your-
under the radar because
Hey.
I'm typically the one answering the questions. But yes,
Yeah.
the inheritor of my collection is actually in this chat, and it's
Stu.
useful to make.
Congrats.
Yeah, Stu, well done. You made it, baby. We only just met.
Yeah,
But,
fantastic.
I figured you needed a flag and a defiant in your life. No, Rob, you are nominated to inherit
Oh wow!
everything.
My goodness.
Everything. Simply because you are geographically here. So
if
I mean,
Paul was
it
here,
would be a
it'd be-
massive headache, but basically you'd have to come in here and help yourself to all this stuff. And
Well,
what
thankfully, your
hasn't
dad
been
does have a
specified,
station wagon, so
it would take
make
a
it
couple
bit
of
easier.
trips. More than a couple of trips. Take a trailer, a couple of trailer trips. Anyway, what I wanted to make clear here, so that I don't have to actually redraft the will, is I would want you to use your discretion and sell what needs to be sold, what you don't feel you have capacity for or desire to have, and use it to assist yourself in any way. And then also be mindful of the fact that Paul might have a few holes in his collection that stuff of mine absorbed into his.
I'll be
Exactly.
I'll be more than
So
happy to
you-
sell him anything he can afford.
This is deep, boys. You
Someone's-
just need some music. This-
Somebody is murdering a cat right now. Oh, jeez. But anyways, that's me proclaiming quite publicly that that's the destiny of my stuff. If I was
Lord,
to drop
I'm gonna
dead
have
tomorrow,
I have to make space. Wow.
when Elliot's old enough,
Wow.
things might change, and that's
Yeah, no,
that's
for
a
sure.
big if, because he needs to actually show that he appreciates this stuff
Yeah,
as
because
much
that's the thing,
as, if not more than me.
Like the one person's treasure is someone else's rubbish. I mean, it's a personal thing. These things are subjectively worth a lot to us. But if he really doesn't show any interest in it, then you're just giving him something that takes up space in his mind. It's not something that he'll value. So it's better. I think whoever gets our toys, I hope it's someone who values them as much as we do.
I've
I
got
think
a
that's the best place
20-year-old
they can go.
and a
Someone who's-
22-year-old, and I don't think that they would. I don't think they've showed any interest in this collection whatsoever, and I would feel kind of like bad and guilty if I didn't pass it on to them, because when I'm gone, I'm gone. Whatever happens to it, it's going to happen to it. I have no control over that. So if, like, for example, I sort of like did leave it to my two kids, they've got their own. They've got their free will to do what they will with it, as in whether they want to keep it and pass it on to their kids, or keep it just as like in memory of me, or they can sell it and do what they want with it. When you're gone, you're gone. You've got no control over what I guess.
Yeah,
you kind
no,
of
literally,
have
there's
to a
nothing you
certain
can
point
do
as
after that.
to who it goes to. But my kids have shown no interest in any of this sort of stuff. So I don't
Sad.
know. Yeah.
Well, as long as
What can you do?
whoever's selling them off is getting fair prices, man. There's nothing worse than the sharks swooping in and making steals. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
again,
Just enjoy
power
it
to
while we're
them.
alive. as well. That's the thing.
Mm.
Truth.
You know? I think there's a
Bit of a
point where-
macabre note to end on. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was. It was going so well up into it. It was all happy-go-lucky.
Shall we play a
Okay,
little
guys,
game?
Oh, a game.
Kind of a game.
Wow.
I don't know. I'd like to get just some cross sections on us as GI Joburg and Stu, the Universal Toy Collector, just in terms of our GI Joe tastes. This is something that I prepared yonks ago for a chat that I had with some other toy channels, Retro Blasting, Analog Toys, but I never got the chance to ask it of my own two pals down there, and certainly. It's nice to have Stu in the mix and weigh in on these things. But I'd like to play a little game of who wore it best, G.I. Joe edition. We have Colonel Hawk and General Hawk. We've got the 1982 release and the 1986 release. Stu, which of these two Hawk action figure looks do you prefer?
I like the original.
Oh, wow. The
I
green
like the
body
original.
condom. Nice.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. One for the original. Rob, you laughed. You nominated. Which one do you
Well,
prefer?
I have more experience with the one on the right, so I think personally I enjoy that version more.
86. Okay, we are tied. Paul, break the tie, baby.
One on the right, dude, all the way.
Oh no! You see,
Like
yeah,
86
these young guys.
That's my Hawk. Well, when I say that's my Hawk, that's my favorite of these two.
Okay.
My whole
Stu,
thing
as the dissenting opinion, stand up for the original. What is the allure to that figure?
It's the original, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
it's the original one. I mean, yeah, they all had pretty much the same face mold and stuff like that, but for back in the day, these were the figures that drew me into GI Joe in the first place. So yeah,
Nice.
that's why.
Ain't no school like old school. Good. Say no
Damn
more.
right.
Let's flip the script and talk Cobra Commanders. Now, this one is quite polarizing in terms of maybe ages, but we've got the original Battle Helmet Cobra Commander versus the 1987 Battle Armored Cobra Commander, if indeed you do take that to mean, do take that as Cobra Commander and not Fred. Let's start with Paul this time. Are you a battle armor kind of guy or a battle helmet kind of guy?
Oh, geez, dude. Battle helmet. Like, helmet
Okay.
Cobra Commander is the way to go. Also, the pictures didn't change. Just saying. Oh, now they have. Yay! No, Battle Helmet Cobra Commander is my favorite, dude. Battle Armor.
Blame my shitty connection. Sorry.
Now, Battle Armor is fun, and it's probably the most unusual. Well, not the most unusual. It's a nice departure. But come on, helmet all the way. It's the best one. I know everybody wants the hood, but I like the helmet.
Rob, which do you prefer?
Well,
Hilarious,
Sorry, Rob,
Paul.
carry on.
I'd go with the well, not the battle armor. I'll go with the other one. I think it's more true to at least my conception of who Cobra Commander is.
Very good. Stu, is it going to be a clean sweep for the
It is going to be a clean
1982?
sweep. It is going to be a
Excellent.
clean sweep for the simple reason is that in my opinion, the Battle Armor Cobra Commander isn't Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, most of the time, yeah. it
Reason
wasn't.
enough. Except in that Deke series. All right, we now have Roadblock's original 1984 tank top version versus the 1986 gray pants and lime vest with that red shoulder pauldron. It's a striking look, but which is your favorite? Paul, kick us off.
Ooh, this is a really tough one for me, but I'm gonna go with the one on the right. I love the second version.
That being
of Roadblock.
86.
86, yes. The green vested, red shoulder pad thing version. I dig it. He's great. I just think the figures I think it's also a toy thing. I think the proportions on the 86 version are a little bit nicer than the originals, which is kind of a thing for me on these.
Can't argue with you there, man.
Mm.
Yep. It's going to be tough to go OG, but Stu, what do you say?
I'm going to go OG. You've got Marduk
Good
there,
boy.
and you can't beat that, in my opinion. But that's there you are.
Nice. I like having a tie because that means Rob gets to break it, and
Hell
and it's
yeah.
interesting. Like, what's going through your head right now, Rob? Like, is it a classic look? Is it coming down to the weapon? Is it the one that
Well-
you got introduced to first?
Well, I think they're both great versions of the character. Like the update is really cool, but I think the original is still the more iconic version of the character, to me at least. And I like that he isn't kind of like smiling with his face like really wide open and all baring his teeth and stuff. So I like the original more actually, and also because the gun is more straightforward, it's more clean, it's more plain, and he comes with more accessories as well. I mean,
Yes.
that's more
Yeah.
Removable helmet is a big one. Like Roadblock is never synonymous with a removable helmet. He's got almost too much character, but it's nice to have that option. And
No,
the
and
fact
in
that the
Tiger
box of ammo
accessories
can
are
come
awesome.
off the backpack, badass. Oh, sorry, Paul. Yes, absolutely. We can't not make mention of the tiger stripe yellow helmet. What a bonza! Cool, awesome.
Bonza.
I don't know. Isn't that what ye old Englishmen say? Flaming
Say what?
bonza. I don't know. I saw that in an
No.
action.
What a
I
bonza.
saw that in an Action Force comic book once. Anyway,
Sounds like an Australian thing. Carry on.
oh yeah, totally, because it was
Yeah.
a Recondo. Recondo was saying it. So it
What a
is.
bonza.
Oh, guys, it's late. Actually, it's not even. I can't even make that my excuse. It's 9. No, it's 10 o'clock. All right, let's go with Destro. Oh, yeah, I used PNGs, so these are actually comic book grabs. Because yes,
Hell
his
yeah.
Iron
Those look
Grenadiers
familiar.
look. The file card only takes the clipping from the what's it that thing, the despoiler, which is not the best artwork of him. So yes, we've got OG 1983 silver helmet, and then we've got the Iron Grenadiers 1988. And like, kindly put yourselves in the gaps of the image so we can see your faces as you deliberate. No, I'm kidding.
I'm
I'm
going to be
kidding.
between his legs. There you go.
Stu is right between Destro's legs.
Yeah,
All right.
literally.
Let's leave Stu for last so you can perhaps be the tiebreaker. Paul, which
Paul
one do you
always
prefer?
gets to go first. It's crazy. Paul's going to
Does
go
he?
with the gold helmet, I bet.
Yeah, Rob's
Yeah.
right. Rob's right, but it's always by a hair because I
Okay.
really love the Iron Grenadier look. I think it's so cool.
They are, well, obviously. I'm going with the original because it's just rocks. I mean, the other one just looks like he's a pirate. He's just like,
He looked like a pirate.
Let's go in the open seas.
Those
I mean,
them's
pirates are
fighting
cool, but
words.
Destro looks much cooler in his original look.
All right, Stu, break that tie, baby.
Yeah. I'm going to go for the original look, but I would like the original look with the red cape. I think that would be pretty cool.
That'd actually be a good addition.
I
Agreed.
don't know.
No,
I think it would look
I think-
fantastic. It looked more
I think you
intimidating.
might take
with the
something
cape.
away from the collar. I mean, this isn't the best image to show it off, but Destro's got a tasteful
Give him the
amount
cape.
of red.
Give him the cape.
I
But
always
didn't
like
Destro
soft
have a red
goods.
collar?
It was the action figure had a far slighter collar than like his animated appearance. The animated appearance
Although
made
the
this
90s
gigantic,
version had a
like-
way bigger collar like this one.
yeah,
It was way more
totally.
obvious.
But yeah, the original figure had a bit of a collar. Nice, but yeah, were you a fan of his Red Jackal action figure, Stu? Did you ever have a hyena? Did you ever see Destro in that form?
No, I've seen him in that
Okay.
form, but I never had him as a figure. But no, I didn't have the red
Okay.
hyena.
But this
unfortunately,
was
'cause it's such a
the
nice
way
vehicle.
Destro should be presented. You didn't kind of feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, but I
yeah,
know him
yeah.
from something else. Okay, great, good.
Mm.
Here's another one that's going to divide us, I'm sure.
Oh.
Storm Shadow 1984 versus
Interesting.
Storm Shadow 1988.
Oh my god.
I'm not going to make Rob go first this time. Oh, wait, did I make Paul?
You're not going to make
Me
Paul
go
go
first
first
every
this time.
Rob, please. I think you're the most mysterious answer because I think I can predict the way Stu and the way Paul are going to lean on this.
It really is actually quite difficult because I mean you have the original version, which is when he's undercover as it were in Cobra, and then you have like the updated, really cool, like patchwork grave stuff on him. Wow, this is difficult, but I think I'm gonna keep it old school. I think this time I'm gonna go old school. So Cobra, enemy, ninja, Storm Shadow.
Very good. Stu, what's it going to be?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Rob. It's gonna be the Cobra, the enemy.
Yeah,
Paul, are you going to surprise us, man? By
Yes.
by
Stu,
going with
go
the
ahead.
original, or are you gonna
This
go,
is-
with this guy?
This side is 84 Storm Shadow. This side is 88.
Yeah.
Okay, and
okay.
I'll see which one I
Oh,
like most.
wait.
I got to flip.
Ah,
Okay, it's 88 today.
You know, it's pretty
I
fair.
love
I
them
think a
both
lot of people
equally.
would flip a
Yeah.
coin. It's a tough one.
They're both
But Stu,
such
you were
beautiful
going to
toys.
say something, then I cut you off, buddy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the 88 version was when he was with GI Joe, wasn't it?
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Though, if you want to
Goody.
get technical, I don't know if he ever really enlisted as a member of GI Joe. He was kind of
Yeah.
still his own operative.
Entity, but
Would
yeah,
occasionally
He was
help
on
out.
his own side, as Darren says.
Very
The
good.
consultant.
But yes, Paul, you're absolutely right. It's like for a lot of us, I mean, there's a superior build to the 1988 version. Like there's some detractors on just the engineering of the original. I mean, if it wasn't just so damn cool as the original, like he does have a strange head and the weapons aren't terrific. Like I'd struggle to get mine to hold his damn swords, and say nothing of that pathetic little bow. Whereas the 88's got
Poe
some
is way
badass
more
gear.
realistic on the original.
Really?
Yeah.
You need to see. Like I've got one now, so I'll show it to you, Robin. You might you might change your mind.
I've got
It's
one too.
laughable.
I have a retro edition.
Oh,
Yeah, but that retro edition bow is shit ugly.
I love the retro edition bow.
Do you like it? That's cool,
my
man. Then it's a
favorite.
win for you. Like,
nice.
yeah.
All right,
I love
final
the
round,
nunchuck.
gentlemen. Final with break apart action to make them TNT sticks. But it's time for the final round. I mean, anyone
could
who
it
knows
be?
anything about GI Joe, who else could it be? It's Snake Eyes,
Oh, wow,
Commando,
you've got 3 versions. Jeez.
Oh no.
to hang the vote. But is this going to play out the way I think it's going to play out? So you guys might surprise me yet. We have the 1982/83 Commando. We've got the 1985 Ninja. And then we've got the 1989 with the blowgun, the sword, the 3-section staff, Uzi. So yeah, just notice as the equipment loadout increases exponentially.
Gets
But-
better and better.
Let's leave our guest for last.
Oh.
Paul or Rob, who wants to speak first on this?
Well,
Oh,
Robbie, you go. You go.
Let's flip a cap and decide. Nah, I'll go. It is really difficult because I think all 3 versions are fantastic. But I have to go with the one I've had the most experience with and I've had the most fun with, and there'll be 1989. I think he's fantastic. I mean, yes, over time they keep adding more and more details to the character, but I think I really enjoy that version. Like his equipment all comes together; it all makes sense to me. And yeah, I think I have to go with 89. Sorry.
Ding ding. One for the 1989 version. Wow. Silver.
Hell
Paul,
yeah.
which one is
85
your favorite
all the
look?
way, man.
85.
All the way.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, it hinges on our guest now. Is he going to hang the vote, or is he going to go with
Okay,
one of
so-
you already picked?
I can count out the one where he's got the knives across his chest. I just don't like that look at all. This is a real
Fair
tough
enough.
one between the 82 and the Ninja. I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I'm going to go for Ninja.
Ooh.
Ninja looks
Yeah.
Sweet. Excellent. Yep, can't beat it. I mean, it kind
No.
of does everything that the Commando version, but it adds to it. Like the basic construction of the original it's beautiful and it's famous, but it is a little bit plain Jane. Maybe that's its appeal. It is that for me, but like, yeah, the ultimate expression of Snake Eyes will always be Visor. I guess.
Yeah.
It pains me to admit it because I'm kind of a goggles kind of guy, but yeah, it's a better action figure at the end of the day. And with that, gentlemen, we've come to the end of another fantastic
Mark agrees with me.
chat. And I thank you, Stu, for joining us, and I thank you for having us on your show last week. Man.
Oh yeah.
Check it out. If you're listening to this, check it out.
It was a lot
yes.
traffic that way.
I'm at Universal Toy Collector on YouTube and on Instagram, and they're the only two platforms that I play on. You don't go Twitter or Facebook, so it's just those two. So I advertise myself well, as you can tell. It's just the two platforms.
Makes it much easier.
Listen, I was really interested. I mean, I know it's come to the end of it, but I was really interested to hear what you guys thought about the movies.
Ooh, that's a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah, there you are.
Well, quick fire, I guess. Yeah, the first movie was like it's made by people who had no idea what GI Joe was about. The second movie was kind of going in the direction of what I think GI Joe is more about. And then the Snake Eyes movie was kind of, once again, they're inventing their own stories about what GI Joe was. I don't even think the third movie was originally a GI Joe movie. I think they shoehorned GI Joe into there somehow. Like somehow into that Snake Eyes, movie. If I had to choose which one I enjoy the most, it'd probably be the second one.
The one with Dwayne Johnson.
By a little bit, but just a little bit. Yeah, with The Rock. It's just us, The Rock. You can't lose. Big bald man.
I appreciate the first one for its balls out the bathtub, like madness. Like it pushed the boundaries on GI Joe as like a science fiction action adventure story, which I think is my happy place for GI Joe. Sure, it was misguided as hell, and it was actually another movie that Stephen Summers was trying to make. Was it Summers?
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
The Accelerator Suit movie was what he actually wanted to make, but he got stuck with this toy movie from Hasbro. So you're seeing those elements infiltrated, and it's so divorced from the best premise of GI Joe. But I do applaud it for being a little bit out there and a little bit sci-fantasy. I think when GI Joe strays a little bit too far into like hard military, it loses that fun, and it could just be anything else. Like, I don't think the right direction for GI Joe in film is to do Black Hawk Down. Rise of Cobra did that. I just find Retaliation to be insulting now, like, because there's some hopeless pandering, and I mean, we now know why Bruce Willis has become somewhat withdrawn in the films that he does and the approaches that he takes, but like, it just wasn't a good fit. Like, he looked bored. Everything The Rock touches turns to gold, I suppose, but I just am so sick of him playing himself. There's never any variation of character. You're always going to get The Rock playing The Rock. And a podcast that I was listening to the other day put it very bluntly and said, like, we love him, we love his movies, and we love their financial success. But when is someone going to take this guy and actually write a good part for him? Like a really standout, amazing role. I mean, it might involve him having to do what Schwarzenegger did and like take a massive pay cut and do some, do his twins. But like all of Dwayne's movies are kind of, all of his roles are kind of mediocre at best. And
they seem
like you see him in interviews and you think like, this cat's got it going on. He's really good.
Hey, smart guy. Yeah.
He needs to stop being in the Jungle Cruises and the Fast and Furious movie. Like, he needs to do something a little.
Tooth Fairy.
do a passion project.
Exactly.
At long last, instead of, but it's probably too late for that. It's probably far too big and marketable and like a franchise saver for him to step back and do something.
Or like Schwarzenegger, we're gonna have to wait till he enters his 70s or 80s before he actually makes movies that aren't all action.
And then Snake Eyes to round it out. GI Joe Origins Snake Eyes, or whatever they titled it, wasn't a GI Joe film at all. Once again, I seem to think that they just had some other script floating around, and Hasbro's team of, I don't know, the think tank, the room, the guys in the room just put a big GI Joe stamp at the top of it, and like Snake Eyes, boom, let's make this the story of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, because really all the GI Joe-esque elements were shoehorned into it. It seemed very, very square peg round hole fit, as in
Definitely.
not a fit at all.
Yeah, I echo these two gentlemen's sentiments, with the exception being that I enjoyed all three, but I don't think any of them are great movies. And I think that all of the GI Joe movies are like Nerf guns with the GI Joe logo stuck on. It's not GI Joe, but you still have fun with the Nerf gun. So that's kind of my vibe with the whole thing, with the movies. That said, I still watch them often enough in the background. It's weird. Yeah. Not so much Snake Eyes, the first two. There's something, elements I like. I really enjoyed the whole ninja battle scene with Jinx. So that was cool.
So interesting point raised by Ryan in the chats. He seems to be under the impression that the Sarge was going to play Joe Colton, but couldn't make the movie because of WWE. If there's truth to that, that could be really fun. Though still, I don't know if yeah, but hey, who am I to say? I would have loved to see that. I probably would have loved to see that a lot more than Willis. But look, that wasn't what tanked that film for me. I think there are far more egregious, like insulting things that happen.
Probably our favorite, if we had to choose a favorite, is the animated movie.
That's the best.
Without saying.
That's
Ryan says it came from the Sarge himself. That's awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, then I can believe it. Bloody hell. That's so cool.
Bloody hell.
I'm curious, sorry, and I know Steve's normally the one that throws this out there, but I'm actually curious about the post-box The Pit this time around.
Oh, Rob, do you have a response from previous episode?
Yeah.
Oh, while he scrambles for that, I'm just going to flash up the Patreon wall. Thank you to the Berg Force for their amazing support. We appreciate you guys.
Welcome, Christoph, to the rank.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you, Christoph.
Welcome someone new.
Yo,
We had
Joburg.
somebody new recently as well in the form of Jim Godfrey. So that's also pretty
That's
cool.
true. But
Yeah, we
now
know
he's
that
been
guy. He's
he's been supplanted by Christoph. So Christoph is our newest coolest guy.
Newest coolest
Sorry,
guy.
Jim. You're gonna have to join up again.
Remove your membership and then buy another month. Yes. Robbie, whose comment really struck home for you this week?
Okay, well, I think I'm glad people agree with us. So I'm looking at our episode, planning a play motion. Is that the right one? Yeah.
No, it would be our Halloween, our creepy toys episode that was lost.
Toys.
But hey, planning a play motion. If you've got a comment warmed up for us there, that'd be great.
Oh, I understand now.
Ah,
It's because of the way that they've rearranged the videos.
damn
on YouTube.
YouTube.
So YouTube now, they put your
YouTube
videos in
sucks.
one place, shorts in another place, and then anything that was ever streamed is now in its own live section. So even though this is technically a video afterwards, it's
Why did they do these things? Facebook's changed as well. Now I have to kind of like switch accounts if I want to see like GI Joburg stream.
It's so annoying.
Very
I missed
annoying.
out so much GI Joe content. Like Mark van Leeuwen, the other day, he posted links for the photo for his like guide to see if anybody's interested. I didn't even see that post pop up. I didn't get a notification. Nothing. It's so annoying. Facebook
Bloody hell.
sucks. They need to fix it, or
But anyway.
something.
anyway. MCDJ ACDC, he thanked me for my shout out. I'm just so happy to mention you. And he's glad he could make us laugh a bit. And a ton of emojis. So thank you, Andrew.
Thank you,
That
Andrew.
would
And
be-
Andrew would be, I suppose, the perfect note to end this on, because he's just said in the live chats, I wonder if your toys look at you as you age and will mourn your passing like Daniel with the death of Prime.
Wow.
Oh, man. Does that mean
Wow.
we're going to like sort of fade to gray and black and just go?
We keep trying to bring the mood up, but we keep coming back down again.
Till all are one, gentlemen. Till all are one. Stu, thank you for joining us once again.
Pleasure.
Love you long
Absolute
time,
pleasure.
pal. Yeah.
Thank you,
Enjoy
man.
it.
Thank you so much.
And
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the best with the
awesome.
channel. May you get new subs and views.
Yes.
I'm just putting it out there. Like, the GI Joburg tribe must get behind you.
Just want to throw it out there quickly. I think I'm 12 away from 200 subscribers. Big numbers for me. Awesome stuff. I've not been doing it I've been doing the channel for less than a year, but 200 subscribers.
Wow.
There will be a 200 subscriber giveaway, and it's going to be GI Joe related. So, Bob's your uncle. So, subscribe, and then let's see what goes on.
What do they have to do to go into the draw?
Just be a
Just write a
subscriber.
comment on a video.
Say how cool
Is
you
it
are.
not like as a specific video, not just any video? So I will say, right, this video.
I'm going to choose any
to be-
video now.
Yeah. So like I'm going to be doing a video, and then I'll say, right, to enter this draw, leave a comment and a like on this video, and then your name will go into a hat, and I will do a random draw a week later.
Prize draws are the best. Awesome. So
Yes,
everyone
they
listening to
are.
this, head over to the Universal Toy Collector and subscribe, and keep your
Yes.
ears peeled, your eyes.
Get me to
To the
200,
ground.
and you might win some goodies.
There
Some
you
GI
go.
Joe goodies.
All right. Thanks again to everyone who attended live. If you'd like to join, Patreon's the way to do it. And we'll be heading to the after party after this. So you have
Whoop,
access to our Discord server. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Get a bevy in
Awesome
hand.
stuff.
Awesome. So long, Stu. Goodbye,
No,
boys. See you
pleasure.
next week.
Cheers.
No. Yeah.
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.